The Pesky Report is sponsored by High and Happy Catering out of Springfield, Massachusetts. Their chef, Michael Best, can cook anything you want with or without being infused with cannabis. Check out some of what they make on their Instagram at High and Happy Catering or call them at 413-785-8999. You'll be happy you did.
Welcome to the Pesky Report, a podcast for Red Sox fans.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Pesky Report. I'm Ed Hand, and I'm here with my good friends, Brady. How you doing, Brady?
I'm doing pretty good. Pretty excited for today.
Oh, yeah, me too. Me too. And I'm also here fresh from the pool with Brad, our very own Brad, who ran straight here out of, I assume he is still in a wet bathing suit. How you doing, Brad? I feel like I haven't seen you in a few weeks.
I'm not wearing a bathing suit.
Oh, God.
I am in clean clothes. Let's just say that.
Only the best, because we have a guest here today, as you probably assumed when you clicked the title for this. We're with High A Greenville pitcher Brendan Cellucci. How are you doing, Brendan?
I'm doing great. We just got off a nice little series win, and I'm more than excited to meet with you guys and talk some baseball or whatever you guys want to talk about.
All right, let's talk about the sweltering heat here. Okay.
I don't know if I want to talk about that. You want to hear something crazy? We just in the middle of our game today, it just started pouring out of nowhere, and like it didn't last long, so like we were fine to play. But the heat that came right after, oh my gosh, we were all sitting there. We were sitting there in the bullpen. It felt like we were in an oven. It was ridiculous.
Is it the heat or the humidity? Because
it was the humidity for sure.
I can't stand the humidity. If it's 98 degrees and it's just like no humidity or whatever, or very low humidity, I'm fine. But once we get that humidity level up, I'm crying like a little girl.
Oh, 100%, 100%. And it was funny because earlier today we're out there warming up and there's a nice breeze and all, and we're like, oh, finally this week we're gonna have like a more chill day. But oh my gosh, that it went from 0 to 100 real quick.
As the oldest guy on this pod, I'm going the other way. Like I was in blazing heat the other day. I was like, this is so much better than winter. Like, give me this every day. I'm in shorts and flip flops. That's great.
I might be in the minority here, but I'd rather it be cold. I can put more clothes on. I can't take more clothes off.
I'm in favor of heat. I lived out in Arizona for a bit. I can do that pretty well. As soon as it gets below 40, I'm kind of miserable. So, this is I can live with this. I can't say I have enjoyed almost dehydrating every time I step outside, but I can live with that. Now, you went to school out in New Orleans, right?
I did, yeah. I went to Tulane University.
How does this compare to the heat there?
It's quite similar. I mean, the one thing that was tough about Tulane was we had an all turf field, so it would kind of like bounce off the ground and like hit you twice. But I mean, besides that, it never got too bad. The interesting thing about Tulane was just like the rain. The rain would come very sporadically, just at random times. Sometimes I'd go into class one day and I'd come out and I have to take my shoes off because the water was up like 2 feet. It was ridiculous, but I never really had a problem with the heat down there.
How did you end up out there?
So I was originally committed to Miami. That was my dream school, and I decommitted from there, and there weren't baseball obviously at this point. They're starting to recruit earlier and earlier, and so there weren't too many options left. And I'm not gonna like lie or anything like that. I don't come from like a very like wealthy family, so we had to like make do with like probably what was the best offer. And Tulane was awesome enough to give me a very good offer, a very good scholarship, and I took an official visit there, and I was like, this place is a great school, great education, good baseball, and it's New Orleans, so let's do it.
Can I ask?
While you were there? Oh, sorry.
I'm just curious.
Yeah, sorry, Brady.
Sorry.
Raise your hands.
You met my son, and he's the young guy really getting into baseball playing now.
Yeah.
So you move pretty far from home to go to college. Mm-hmm. Is this the first time that you're playing a lot of baseball games without your parents, and family there? And if so, how was that?
I never really had a problem with that in high school. I would obviously I'm from up north, so there wasn't too many big tournaments during the summer. All the big tournaments would be in Georgia and Florida, stuff like that. So I was pretty used to traveling on my own, even at the high school age. I knew I always wanted to go down south to play baseball, and they knew that as well, and they always supported me on that. So it wasn't really a big change. I've kind of used to. I'm used to being like kind of independent in that aspect, and I think it's definitely helped me grow for the better.
Cool.
I'm gonna do the raise the hand thing now because that was
probably the way to go.
So I was looking up some things on you, and on Baseball Reference they got you as a pitcher, a center fielder, and a left fielder. Is there like were you playing all three of those?
Absolutely not. I have no idea why that's up there, but honestly, it's pretty funny because I love the outfield. I love during batting practice.
You shag balls.
I'm running out there. I'm trying to make great plays and all that. I'm jumping up against the wall, and yeah, I mean, I can't hit like for crap.
Typical of a pitcher.
I'm the last person you want in the box.
Unless you're Ohtani.
I can track down some balls. I do love that. So anytime I see that on the Baseball Reference, I'm like, we can keep that up there.
All right.
That sounds good.
At some point,
do you look yourself up there a lot?
Yeah. I mean, like I think everybody does. We always like are wondering like what our stats are at certain points, just to try to see like how much like if we had a good outing, like it's sometimes nice to see your ERA go down. Like that's I'm not gonna lie, I do that, and I'm pretty sure every other pitcher does, and probably hitters with their average as well.
You ever go on there and just be like, "Oh, that's bullshit. I shouldn't have been charged for that ERA that run."
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. There are some times where I look at it and I'm like, damn, man, like if only I like struck this one guy out, or if like this one thing happened, things would be so much different on this page. But I mean, I'm a big believer in like you can't like the past is the past. Like whatever happened, and we just got to move forward. So
there you go. It's a good way to look at things.
Oh, for sure.
What stat do you look at for yourself? Like which one? What do you look at first? What's the one that speaks to you as a reliever? That you really get it, that's the important one.
To be quite honest with you, I love looking at my Ks per nine. That's
nice.
I mean, honestly, I have been known to walk a good amount of people. That's something that I'm definitely working on. I can cause a little more trouble for myself in that aspect. So I always try to like keep those like low, and as long as I'm keeping, and my college coach told me this, he said, if you're gonna walk a lot of guys, you better strike out a lot of guys. So if I'm coming out of a game with like a walk, I better have at least 2 strikeouts.
Yeah, looking at your stats from last year, you had 28 walks but 59 strikeouts, and 37 in the third inning. So I guess you took what your coach said to heart.
Yeah, for sure. We just got to get the ERA down more.
Is that a stat that you pitchers actually like pay attention to? Because you hear nowadays, like, people are just like, oh, ERA doesn't matter. Is that something that you look at as a pitcher?
Well, I think the tough part is that those stats come from each individual affiliate's scorekeeping. So it honestly depends on who's scorekeeping, and there can be some times where they say something's a hit instead of an error, and that it ends up being an earned run or an unearned run. And so I think obviously what's most important to me is the Red Sox organization, and they know like how I pitch. I don't really care what like people see from my stats as long as I'm doing what they're telling me to do. But there are definitely instances where guys' ERAs can like are a little, like they can maybe be a little different depending on who's keeping the book.
Fair enough.
Now, you mentioned that it's different scorekeepers for each group. Now, is there any specific stat that you found the Red Sox have emphasized more than anything else, or is it kind of just a sum of all parts?
No, I think the one thing they emphasize us at the beginning of each year is just about like keeping the ball over the plate, like especially with our off-speed stuff as well. I think that a lot of times people pay, especially with minor leaguers, they pay a little too much attention to stats. When like guys can, like we've had guys that have gone out and pitched really well, but we have a large bullpen. So if a guy pitches well but can only throw 2 innings, has like a run, that's a 4.50 ERA when he went out there and he did his thing. He did really well. So I mean, it like I think one thing that they just preach to us is just to keep the ball over the plate and good things will happen, and I think that's what we've been doing really well, from like low A to triple A.
All right. Well, nobody else is saying anything. So you were born in Philly. I'm assuming, were you a Phillies fan?
Yeah. I was a Phillies fan growing up. It was really, I was only 10 years old when we won the World Series back when Cole Hamels was there, when Ryan Howard was there, all those guys, and it was really something special to watch. And I told these guys a little earlier, I grew up a Red Sox fan as well, so I had my NL team and the AL team, and
That's real funny.
Yeah, growing up and watching like those two teams play, you can really tell that there's like a sense of camaraderie that they preach in those organizations. I mean, I know firsthand now for the Red Sox, but yeah, definitely, it seemed like it was more than just like getting your paycheck. It seemed like it was really about winning for those organizations, and it's definitely something that I care about a lot as well, and have learned from that.
I find that extremely funny because I thought I was like one of very few people that had their favorite NL team and then they had their favorite AL team.
Yeah,
because my favorite NL team was the San Francisco Giants, and that was before they started winning the they went and won the World Series with Brian Wilson, who was crazy as hell.
Yeah,
but yeah, that's cool.
Brendan, I wanted to know, when did you start playing baseball? Was it the only sport? Usually I hear like, no, it was this and that. But and also, when did you know? I'm pretty good at baseball.
Don't say it. Don't say it.
So I've heard this question a couple times, and I wish I could get my mom on here to tell this story. She loves this story. But when I was like 3 or 4 years old, me and my neighbor had a snowball fight, and from across the yard I took this like ice ball and launched it across the yard and hit him right in the nose, and he had like a bloody nose everywhere and stuff. And I'm like, I'm so sorry, and like his dad's like, oh no, he's fine, like you gotta go play baseball, man. And that was when they knew like baseball tryouts were right after that. I got right into t-ball. My parents always knew that like from like my arm that I was probably going to be a pitcher from like day one, which was really cool. So I actually started pitching when I was like younger than the rest of the guys, like that were that like the age group that got up to from machine pitch to regular pitching. So I was always kind of like the younger guy on the team, so I never really kind of stood out too much. But right when I got to around like 16, I like 15, 16 was when I really started getting like bigger and stronger and throwing harder. And that was when I really started to shine. Like that was when I kind of knew like, hey, I'm going to be able to go to college for this definitely, and I can make a run for the pros.
So how come you were in the younger level for it? Was your arm just better than them, or?
Well, actually, it was mostly because I I didn't graduate. I left preschool early, and I was always the youngest kid in my grade. So I was always kind of like the kids were older than me that were in my grade, and my parents were like, we're not gonna make him play with the kids that are his age when he goes to school with all these kids. So I got to play with my friends, but with that, I was always playing up.
Yeah, that happened to me also. I was always the youngest person in the grade from similar part of the country as you. So that's. I wonder if that's just like.
We're basically twins. That's all.
Yeah, basically.
I could totally see it. So who were the players that you looked up to when you were younger? Like who were you like? I want to be that guy.
Yeah, it definitely developed as I got older. But it started off with Cole Hamels because he was the lefty for the Phillies and all, and I was a lefty, or I am a lefty, so always like watching him growing up, kind of mimicked him. And then it started to become more of who do I like love watching compete? Who do I love watching like play the game? And for a while it was Jose Fernandez, because that guy, you could just tell he went out there and he wanted to win, and he was having a good time doing it. Like he wasn't afraid to have fun out there. And I think that's something that kind of gets lost when you start like kind of like making money in this game, is that some guys are just kind of more focused on that rather than like, look, it's still a game. We're still having fun out here. And I try and do that, like knowing like at the end of the day, like whether it's a good game or a bad game, like I'm playing a kid's game out here. Like you should try and your best to have your fun. And also I love watching Max Scherzer. That guy is an absolute dog on the mound, and watching him compete, it's stellar. It's awesome.
I got to see him do a rehab start in Hartford a few weeks ago, and I've never seen the park that packed.
Oh, I bet.
There was literally no seats available.
Yeah. And if you hear some stories about him, like that man, I think the one, like the greatest respectable thing about him, which I try and bring into my life, is he does not care what anyone else thinks of him. He does what works for him. And that's something that I try and preach to any kids that like ask questions about that. Like that guy will, like I've heard a story that he goes out and he'll throw his bullpens in full uniform.
Yep.
Like just full uniform.
Garrett Whitlock was mentioning something about that, and he said that that's what he's going to do from now on.
Yeah, absolutely. And like a lot of people, like if you're not Max Scherzer, if you're a younger guy coming up and you want to do that, people will laugh right in your face. But that's what makes Max Scherzer, because he doesn't give a crap what you think of him.
So before we move past the Tulane stuff, I'm just curious. There was a guy that I spoke to years ago who was another lefty who pitched for Tulane out of the bullpen back in the 80s. And I'm just curious. I don't know if the fraternity of them goes back that far, if you have like former players coming in. But are you familiar with Kevin Mahat?
I've probably like seen his name multiple times because they like Tulane loves advertising, just as any other college does, the guys that have made it to the pros. But no, not a lot of guys come back. We've had a couple coaching changes in the past years, and usually guys will come back to see their old coaches. I know that like me and like guys like Cody Hosey, who's with the Dodgers, Caleb Roper and Chase Selesky, who are with the White Sox, we like to go back just to see the guys that we know. But well, I feel like I'm kind of getting old because the last guys that I played with just graduated. So yeah, not too many guys that I know back there, but it's always fun to go visit New Orleans. And Yeah, you guys know how it is.
Actually, New Orleans is one of the places that's always been on my bucket list to go to. So I'm kind of looking forward to that. What was the coolest city that jumps out real quick that you've been to that where has baseball taken you that you don't think you would have gone and you're like, wow, I could see myself really enjoying it there?
I'll say two places. Well, New Orleans for one, because I got to experience Mardi Gras there, and Mardi Gras is. I don't think I've ever had more fun in my life than I did.
How drunk did you get? Do you remember?
I do remember.
How many beads did you get?
I have actually a video of me catching beads, and I was maybe a little intoxicated at the time, and I'm just going crazy. And I remember they throw everything off those floats, like just they throw shoes off, like that they decorate and stuff. And I specifically remember there was this foam football, and me and just some random person on the other side of the street where all the floats are going by, block eyes, and we're just throwing this football back and forth throughout the entire parade over the floats.
So how many beers did you have? 30, 40? I mean, you're throwing a football across the street with somebody you don't know.
Well,
that's cool, though.
Full disclosure with you guys, actually, I'm not too into drinking too much. I have epilepsy. Do you guys know what that is? Yeah. So I've always had to kind of watch what I do, and it's honestly like it was hard growing up with it because I always thought why do I have to deal with this? But it's honestly helped me in a sense. It's made me eat better, make sure to get my sleep, never drink too much, don't do drugs like that. So I think it's honestly helped impact my career.
That's good to hear.
But back
and not the fact you have epilepsy. But
back to your question, the other city I was in Scottsdale, Arizona last year for the Fall League, and that place is beautiful. I was out there for 3 days, and I was like, I could definitely see myself living out here.
Oh my God. I went to Arizona State initially when I was going to college. It was, it was hard to leave. It's just so, especially growing up in the Northeast, it's just so different out there. And everything's so new, and people are just really friendly. It's just a really great spot.
For sure.
Brendan, can I ask you? If you don't want to answer, you don't have to, right?
Okay.
Well, what's the worst ballpark that you've been to yet going through? Like, I got the cities that you really loved, but is there a place that you went to, maybe not ballpark, but let's just say like area where you went, you're like, this is not for me?
No disrespect to the organization, because I know they're very good at development, and I have a lot of friends in that organization, but I am not a fan of the Tampa Bay Rays ballpark. I think, I've gone in there a couple times. It's in the ground, and it has the it's inside. Why do you have a closed off ballpark in Florida? I don't get it.
Hey, I'm not for nothing. I don't know if you've been to the Marlins Park. Beautiful park.
Really?
It's got one of those retractable roofs.
See, that makes sense. But I mean, like I said, no disrespect, but it's also very small too.
I have to stop you. Somebody, one of our other co-hosts actually just popped on, and he said because it rains every single day in the summer. That's why they got the and otherwise, I mean, I don't think there's really been a place I've been that I really didn't like. I'll tell you this. Another great organization, have friends there, but we went to Asheville. Asheville is the high A for the Houston Astros, and the field is 297 down the right field line and 310 down the left field line, and 370 to center. I gave up a home run there that I thought was a fly ball the entire way last year. And I'm just every time we go to that ballpark, I'm just like,
this is a softball field essentially. Like this is awful. And like every time we go there, the pitchers are just like, oh, not again. Like this is gonna stink. And the thing is the Astros are so good at hitting there because all they do is they try and put the ball in the air. And if you put it in the air, whether it's a fly ball or not, it'll hit off the wall or go over. And it's just like, oh my God, you guys are so annoying.
Good practice for something like Yankee Stadium where you could just hit a fly ball out to that short porch.
Yeah, like that's the thing is like we got the monster, and the monster is very close, but at least it's like I don't even know how many feet high. Like this place is like it's got a wall that goes all the way around that's probably like 15 feet up, and that's it.
Nice.
That's good to know. Also, just if you see, they're playing in Asheville today, so maybe take they gave up 4 home runs. Maybe take that with a grain of salt.
Exactly.
So
Hey,
hold on a second.
Go ahead, Brad.
You're number 11, right?
I am number 11. Yeah.
Is there any significance to that number?
Jeez, you have all the questions that my mom wants to answer, but I was born at 11:11 in the morning on my parents' 11th anniversary.
Michael Chavis would have an absolute blast with you.
Why is that?
He is big on 11:11.
Yeah, it's funny because I always like said that to like anytime I try and get 11, but we got Rafi who's got 11, and so I don't think he's going anywhere anytime soon. So
I hope
I'll have to find a new number.
You could just go with like number 1 or something like that.
Maybe, yeah.
74. There's 11. Or 1,
Hey,
whatever.
Brendan, I just want to ask, as a guy coming out of the bullpen,
Mm-hmm.
we kind of argue amongst each other quite often about the importance of a closer and guys having set roles and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
You as a professional pitcher, can you tell me, do you see like, do you think closer by committee could work? Do you think having set roles, like a real like setup guy, closer, do you think those things are important or they're overblown and baseball is really moving? Where do you see it?
I think the talent that comes out of bullpens now is more kind of equal when it comes to like if you look at the Yankee, like I love watching the Yankees bullpen because every guy that comes out of that bullpen is gross. Like they're you could have any of those guys come in a closer role, and
I hate that you're right.
Yeah, you could have any of those guys come in and close the game out. However, I mean there are guys like Craig Kimbrell, and like Brian Wilson when he was, who were just kind of like unstoppable. Like one thing I loved as a Phillies fan growing up was watching Brad Lidge. He went 48 for 48 one year. It saves. That's ridiculous. And I'm sorry, my girlfriend was calling me. But yeah, it was absolutely ridiculous. And
You
so
keep ignoring that. She's going
like
to keep
that,
calling.
when you have a guy like that who's just absolutely like has that mentality, will come in and slam the door in your face every time, and you have that confidence in him, there's absolutely no reason to put anybody else in the 9th except that guy.
I think that's a pretty good way of looking at it. That really, I guess, my interpretation of that, if you have like a second tier type guy, then it's sort of irrelevant. But if you have that top tier elite closer, then of course you're going to have him slam the door there.
Absolutely. But I do think sometimes, like when we come out of the bullpen, it's usually 1, maybe 2 innings now. So there aren't really too many roles when it comes to it. There are some guys who are long relievers, but when you get to like the upper stages, you don't really like essentially like most like starters go at least 6-7 innings. So as long as like you have those guys that are ready to come in that day, I think you're mostly good.
Now, you've also worked as an opener this year.
Yeah.
Have you found the preparation for that to be very different from coming in like the 6th or 7th inning?
100%. I mean, there's a really big difference to knowing when you're going to pitch and kind of expecting when you're expecting like an idea of when you're going to pitch. I honestly struggled with that a little bit because I really like to kind of get in my zone, like just kind of like have that like I like to think I'm a nice guy, but when I'm on the mound, like I like to like like be like a dog and like be angry and stuff. But and when I was starting, it was really easy to get there because I had all the time in the world to get ready. Sometimes when you're in the bullpen, it's a little tough. And one thing my pitching coach and I have gone over is like I'm usually in the later innings, so around the 5th, 6th inning, if I'm hot that day, just start to get in that zone. Because like obviously I'll talk to the other guys and stuff throughout the game, but when it comes to like maybe my turn to pitch and I might get that call, that's when I want to be ready. So it definitely is different. It was a lot easier to get into that zone, but I mean, essentially, you like there's like I just enjoyed opening just because of the fact that I knew exactly when I was going to pitch.
Yeah, that makes sense. Now, you did the AFL last year.
I did, yeah.
Additionally, you got got called to the Arizona Fall League. How was that experience? And what did they tell you when you found out you were going there?
I was ecstatic. I think that was one of like obviously we all have long-term great goals. That was like a smaller goal of mine. It's obviously an honor to go there because of like all the the people that have been there before and like how the talent level. And I think that was something that was really good. Was kind of like being able to face the best players throughout the minor leagues. It was a lot of fun. Like I knew a lot of the names that were there, and I got to go up against them, and it was kind of like a little bit of like facing like being in like big league games because a lot of the guys that were there have made their debuts this year, and guys that I faced have made their debuts this year. So it was a great experience. Like I said, I loved Scottsdale. It was fun. And it was a nice way to end off the year.
Can you tell me? I'm always curious as a reliever, coming in with runners on or starting the inning clean. How much different is it for you? As a pitcher, is the mindset, kind of going in. Is there a big difference between comfort level? Does one get you a little more amped up? Like,
I think the biggest key to be a great reliever in this game is to not let any situation change you. Not to say that I haven't fell victim to that at some points. We faced Bowling Green a couple weeks ago, and we were in a big spot coming in, and I was I'm not afraid to say I was a little too amped up, and I was wild. So I think it definitely is a little different depending on the game situation. Going in a clean inning, you're like that. This is my inning. This is what I like. I know what I have to do, and I'm going to go out and do it. But coming into dirty innings sometimes can get like the juices flowing a little more because you're like, I want to take care of this. I want to shut the door on these guys and shut them down. But I think, like I said, like something I need to work on, and I'm sure a lot of other minor leaguers need to work on it as well, is just being able to have that same mentality no matter what the situation is.
So we all saw what happened with Chris Sale a couple of weeks ago in Worcester. Have you ever had an episode like that? That's a yes.
Yes, 100%, 100%. I remember I haven't had too many in pro ball because I mean it's pro ball. Like shit's gonna happen. Like I guys are gonna hit home runs. These are the best hitters in the game. I will get frustrated with myself because I'm hard on myself and I have high expectations. But I think the worst one was in college, and we were facing ECU, who, like, their fan section is ridiculous. They come at you, and we were torched through the first 2 games. They destroyed us, and we come out Sunday, and we were like, we can't let them sweep us because all the schools in that in our conference we're very like we're at each other 100%. And so we came out. We were losing 5-3 when I came into the game. I came in like the 4th inning, and I pitched till the 9th. But I knew this one kid, Alec Burleson, who's in AAA with the Cardinals. Dude can hit anything, and he hit a home run off of me and made the game. We came back, and it made the game 9-8, and we were still winning. But instead of it being 9-5, it was 9-8 now. And I came in the dugout, and I just punched the shit out of the bathroom door, and I was screaming. I was so pissed because we were friends too. So I was like, how did I let him get me like that? But we ended up winning the game, which was awesome. And another little fun tick to that was my parents actually got to come see me play for that game. And I'm waving to them in the crowd after we win. And the fans for ECU thought I was like waving them goodbye, like taunting them. And this one Southern as it gets dude is right next to my parents, cursing me out from the stands, and my parents are looking at him like, he's just waving to us, guy.
Wow.
But I mean, it made sense. Like at the end of the day, if you take 2 out of 3 from us, and then someone's taunting you, waving you goodbye, I'd have the same reaction. I'm not gonna lie.
So something like that happens more often than people actually like than people think, right?
Yeah. Oh, 100%. I mean, I think with the Chris Sale thing, the only thing that really like made it seem like it was bad is just like, it's Chris Sale. He's always going to have a camera on him doing what he does. And he had a great reaction to it. I saw an interview with him and he was like, I'm going to do that because that's me. Like that's what he's frustrated that he didn't pitch well, which is understandable. Honestly, I would have a bigger problem if Chris pitched bad and then just didn't give a shit about it. Like, to be honest. So
Fair enough. My favorite part was when he just like he started karate kicking.
Brendan, you're a pretty big dude, man. Has anyone ever been dumb enough to charge you while you're on the mound? Like,
no one's ever
smart.
Me. But I have like gotten into like talking with some guys and stuff like that. Yeah, but no one's ever like charged them out or anything like that.
Do you ever joke around like, like preseason kind of stuff? Like, all right, what would I do? What's the mentality?
100%.
Like,
I have a whole plan in mind if someone ever. You ever seen the Kyle Farnsworth fight?
Oh yeah.
Have you ever seen that?
Yeah.
Going right for the legs.
Yeah.
Go right for the legs. Because you got to think. We got to think here. This guy's got a helmet. He's got a bat. Like I got a glove out there. That's about it. So like the best scenario is just trying to take him to the ground and like staying out of like the upper region where all the hard things are.
What you don't want to do, former Red Sox prospect. This is Ed remembers this one. Izzy Alcantara. If you ever YouTube, or I don't know if you saw us, but he was a hitter. Because he knows the catcher is going to try to knock him down, slow him up. He turns around and initially kicks the catcher in the chest protector, knocks him down so he can get a clean.
I think I have seen that. Yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
I mean, you got it. He had it all thought out. Like he was like, that catcher's not stopping me. I'm going after that guy. Because like that's usually the thing is like the batter's got to get around the catcher like to get to him. So he had a good plan there.
And
now, do you have a favorite? Do you have a favorite baseball fight?
Did you guys see the fall league brawl? We had one last fall in Arizona. Yeah, I think that's my favorite because we were a part of it. Like, because that was a full on like benches clearing like, and there's a whole backstory to it too, which like I kind of don't want to get into, all due respect, but it's pretty funny.
Ignoring the backstory part though, what happened? Because that's going to be everybody. That's Scottsdale Scorpions, so that's going to be everybody.
That was Cannon Smith.
Full disclosure, but it was Josh Winkowski. He's in the bigs for us now. So he
remember this.
He and another guy lived together, and Josh likes to joke around a lot. And we faced the same team the day before. And Josh was joking around with him. The guy wasn't having a great game, and he got really mad at Josh. So we had to cross the field to go to our locker room after that game. And this guy meets us in center field. And he gets in Josh's face. And here, we'll watch it real quick.
Yeah. Oh wow!
Oh,
Josh took it though. Josh took it.
I'll say one thing about Josh. Josh is not afraid of anybody. I like he's a funny guy, but he is not afraid of anybody. So anyway, he comes out to like as we're crossing the field and it's like, where's Josh? Where's Josh? And he comes out, drops all his stuff, gets in Josh's face, like pushes Josh. Josh pushes him back. And I'm getting in the middle of these two. Like Josh is bigger than me. This other guy is husky as hell. And I'm trying to get in the middle of these guys. And everybody just has no problem just watching. They made like a circle around it, like it's a schoolyard fight. And the next day we faced them again. Also, the other team, he's not playing that day, but the other team in the bottom of the ninth decides to pinch hit him. Like it was like instigating it a little bit. And Josh threw 99 right at his noggin, and that's what ensued.
Wow,
I like it.
Yeah,
I can tell that Josh doesn't. He's like a how do I say it appropriately? He's a no fucks given kind of guy, actually.
100%.
He went.
I don't think that was the best way.
I think that really was the best way to say that. I mean,
no nonsense. I believe
it's no fucks. He said that Wrigley Field. What he said about Wrigley Field was great.
Oh my gosh,
what he said about the Yankees was great.
Well, this is the thing about Josh is that like I lived with him during our time there. Anything that comes to mind will come out of his mouth. He doesn't care. Like he will say whatever comes to mind, whether you like it or not. And it's honestly pretty respectable at the end of the day. Like
the joke is like, all right, so he talked shit about Wrigley Field. He talked shit about the Yankee Stadium. We wanted him to be like, when they went to Tampa, he'd be like, best field I've ever seen.
That would be pretty hysterical. It would be. And I'm really happy for him, man. He's pitching very well for up in the bigs, and like I was saying about how like guys that I played against there are starting to really sprout in the bigs. He's definitely one of them, and it's hard work paid off. That guy deserves it.
So you got to play with Bray Bello last year, right?
Yes. Mayo. Yeah, he started off with us in High A. Was not there for long, needless to say, and went up to Double A, shoved there, and then it's awesome to see him making some starts up in the bigs.
Is he as composed as he looks? Because that's the thing that's impressed me about him. And obviously his stuff is electric.
Oh my gosh!
He just seems like he's been there. He's been there for years. Like the way that nothing seems to really faze him.
I think that's something he learned in the past 2 years with like moving up so quickly. Because the year before I got to Greenville, I heard like our pitching coach likes to tell us stories about how Bayo had a rough season. Like he had like a lot of times where he was down on himself, where he like sometimes where he was even crying, and to see him flip that switch from I think it was 2019, from in 2019 to 2021, it's amazing, and it's so awesome to see it, especially from such a young guy. And I think him knowing that he flipped that switch, and that he's able to go out there and pitch with confidence and like blow shit by people, I think that helps him just understand like, hey, like I'm built for this, and he doesn't really let anything affect him in that way, just by understanding that he wants like he's good, he deserves to be there.
I was just curious, during COVID, what did you how did that impact your baseball progression? What did you do? How did that impact you?
It was definitely disappointing at the beginning, because it was going to be my first full season, and I had worked really, really hard on the off season that year, and I felt really ready to make a big impact. But I mean, I didn't skip a beat with it. When I went home, no matter what was closed, what was open, I have a couple friends from back home who we would go to like a sand lot in Philly that had like that had like beer cans in the outfield, and we would just go out and throw every day. Like it didn't matter how cold it was, how warm it was. Like if a gym was open, we would get our work in, and I loved that. And then when things started getting a little better, I actually played in a men's league for a little bit before we came back to Instructs that fall. And I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you, that was some of the most fun baseball I ever played in my life, playing in that men's league.
How much did you dominate there? Like how much to shame did you?
It was interesting, actually. One guy hit a nuke off me. I was like, he was a college guy. There was a lot of college guys playing in that league because nothing else was really open. But college guy got me, and besides that, I did my thing.
That's great.
It's pretty cool for them though, getting to bat against a pro. Also, I mean, what would you say the highlight for you of playing in that men's league was?
I don't know. To be honest, it was just like being free out there. Like you didn't have to like really worry about anything. I was like, I can't. Oh, I will tell you the highlight actually. One time we had one of our players running late, so we only had 8 guys. So I went out to shortstop, and I played shortstop. And the first ball of the game came right to me at shortstop, and I made the play. And then our guy rolls up after the first inning, and that was my game. But it was awesome.
You don't see a lot of left-handed shortstops.
No, not too many anymore.
Hey, Brendan, I want to ask. So you met my son, and he has not stopped talking about you watching anything in Fine because he just thinks he's been in Fenway, but he's never been that close talking to someone who plays professional baseball. It really he's like it's like. So his question was because he really wants to play baseball now. Like this is what he wants to do for life. But if you weren't playing baseball, what would be the option if baseball wasn't an option for you? For like if you didn't go this route, where do you think you'd be working on right now?
I was growing up. I was really big into architecture, and my buddy that I that I would throw with during that COVID, his dad is actually a really big architect in Philadelphia. And I got to do an internship there during high school, and it was a blast. It was really interesting. I'd have to say now that baseball has taken off, like what I want to do when I'm done is some sort of like motivational speaking. I really like talking to people. Me and another one of our players are actually going to a camp run by a Rays scout tomorrow to talk to some kids, which should be fun. And I actually run another Instagram page besides my own called Letters by Lucci, where I put down like either pictures or like videos of me talking, just to try and like give better perspective on life, and like not none of like the bullshit, like just kind of help people understand that like I reflect on what I go through, and I help people understand that like everyone's got their shit. Like at the end of the day, because I think what like is a little troublish in today's day and age, especially with social media, is that you only see what people want you to see. You only see the good things. We were actually talking about it today. When you look at Chris Sale, people look at him like, people look at him like when he like at the top, like him striking out the guys in the World Series, stuff like that. But you don't know the Chris Sale that has to go through rehab because he broke his pinky. You don't know the Chris Sale that had to come back from Tommy John. There are a lot of people, like especially athletes, because we're kind of put on like this pedestal as if we're like not really humans, but a lot of athletes like go through a ton of like bad times, dark times, and it's what you do with those dark times, what you learn from it. I mean, at the beginning of the season, about a month in, I had like a 12 ERA. I was like, this sucks. But it's just about like, what do you do with it? Are you going to say, woe is me, or are you going to strap up and say, I'm going to get through this? And I think at the end of the day, it's those things that really develop who we are and like make us who we're meant to be. Because now going through my career, which I hope will be a long one, if I ever go through a rough patch, I'm like, look, I got through it that one time. I'll be able to get through it now. And I it's just something that I want to preach to like the younger guys and even people like grown-ups as well, because we never really have it all figured out. We're continuously learning, we're continuously getting better at certain things, and I just think it's so important for people to realize that we're all human here.
Yeah, you're absolutely right that does get forgotten, especially in with social media kind of highlighting either the good or the bad. If you see something like the other day with Jaron Duran missing that fly ball, that kind of being, and I'm sure he wants to forget about that, and it's hard to move away from that, and that's it's interesting hearing that from a pitcher, because I feel like you think about like the Ted Williams quote about baseball being the only endeavor where you can fail 7 out of 10 times and be one of the best at your sport. I feel like it's got to be a different mentality with a pitcher than that, but it does make sense that you're gonna, you kind of do have to get back up after that. Would you say that you had a coach that really helped drill this in for you, or has this been more of like a collaboration of experiences?
It's definitely been a collaboration. Things I've learned from several pitching coaches. I mean, our coach here, Bob Kipper, who pitched many years in the big leagues, he's taught me a lot over my just under 2 years with him. We have a coach in low A who was my coach in short season with Lowell, Nick Green. He taught me a lot. My high school coach and my college coach were just both big on just competitiveness and just going out there and coming at people, leave it all out there, because that's the thing is there's, whether it's an outing or a year or my career, I never want to go leave it and say I could have done more, or I could have come with more intent and stuff like that, or done something better. So that's just kind of my mentality when I head out in the field, is this could go really good, or it could just easily go really bad. That's baseball, but I'm going to leave it all out on the field. I'm going to give it everything I got.
So, Brendan, what are you working on now? What's the goal? You have about another 2 months or so you're left of the season here. What's the goal for that you're working on for your personal goals here for the remainder of this season, and what are you hoping for long term as well?
Well, this season, I mean, we're getting towards the end. It's been like I said, I had a rough start, so it's been good being able to bounce back. I'm just looking like we're kind of towards the end, so it's kind of like a sprint now. So I'm just hoping to, like I said, come with everything I got for the rest of the year and end it on a good note, because our coaches preach, it's not really how you start, it's how you finish. And I'm looking forward to this off season, but being back in Philly, and I'm gonna really go hard this offseason, working on just trying to get a couple more ticks on my fastball, working on the command. Obviously, I was mentioning that earlier, and just being able to come to spring training and know that I'm ready for whatever comes my way.
What's the pitch that you want to refine the most?
Probably my cutter. It's kind of more of a slider, but I had more of a up and down slider, it would kind of just fall off the table before, and I was having trouble throwing that for strikes because it would kind of it would go in the dirt a lot. It was a hard pitch to land for strikes, I should say. So I kind of switched to a cutter grip, and it's a little more side to side, and I really like it. It's helped me a lot. I've been able to throw it for strikes well, but it can always be better. And my fastball, the command of it can always be better as well. So going into the off season, I'm really focusing on that 2-pitch mix. And if the Red Sox say, hey, maybe we want to add a third, work on this on the off season, I'd be more than happy to.
Cool.
So I have one last question, and I always have the jackass type questions. So your
Shocker.
pitcher, would you say shocker?
Yeah.
Yeah. So as a pitcher, have you ever intentionally thrown at somebody because they were being an asshole to you or something like that?
I have not. I've always had that mentality.
Is that?
And I'd rather strike them out.
I gotta stop you. Is that the answer that you're given?
No. 100. I swear, because there is one person I'm going to throw at. Like, I will not tell you his name. But there's one person that I'm going to throw at, and it was because he's a big leaguer now, and we played each other at one point, and it was during spring training, and he was big league rehabbing, and I was a little wild that day, and he came up to the box and he told them he wasn't going to hit, and he walked away, and I was like, okay, I see how it is. All right, well, I'll see you down the road, because he was afraid of me hitting him. So if you're afraid of it, get ready. I'm just kidding, but not really at the same time.
Can you sum it down, like what team he's on?
No.
It's got to be a surprise.
Because, like, let's say this gets out or something, I am 100% getting thrown out of that game. That'll be the time someone charges the mound. So
is he a small guy, average build, or are you going against someone?
To be honest, I don't remember too much what he looks like.
You better remember.
Did he have?
I remember the name. It is locked in there. But no, I said, I never believed in throwing at people. Like, I'm a big, I just want to strike you out guy.
Fair enough.
So I got
when you end up throwing at this person, we'll know.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Woohoo!
So I got.
Oh, that's him.
For you. You're with Greenville. They've got, I think, one of the most fun batting orders right now, certainly in the Red Sox system, with Nick Northcutt and Joe Davis, Nico Cavadas, and I mean other guys that are a little higher on the prospect list, like like Nick York and Matthew Lugo. What is batting practice like watching there? Is that just a show? Is it derby?
I mean, I told you I like to run around, but I pretty much only run around every 5 hits. Like, because so have you ever seen Greenville's field?
I've seen it. I've never been there, but I have seen it. Yeah.
Okay, so they're right behind the Green Monster. There's a hotel. Joe Davis pretty much puts it on top of the hotel every day. And Miko hit nukes. Alex Benellis, when he was here, ripped balls. And York, I think York's is one of the most impressive, because York focuses going on opposite field in batting practice, and he still hits liners it's ridiculous. But yeah, I mean, batting practice here is something that's fun to watch for sure.
I got to ask you, which one do you dread more? All right, which play as a pitcher? Wild pitch that scores a run, or the little weak grounder to the pitcher, and you almost have too much time and you airmail it over the first baseman's head?
It depends. Is the wild pitch my fault, or did it bounce by the catch?
All right. No. Wait. Hold on. I want to do it's your fault, but you have a good lead, so that run didn't really hurt.
100% go into the throw to first, because that's just like everybody. Wild pitches happen. They happen. But if you throw it over first, you're just sitting there and you feel like an idiot.
Because it can't be easy. Because you see, is it just too much time? If it does happen, is it just too much?
To be honest with you, sometimes I get rid of the ball as soon as possible, because I'm not going to give myself time to think. It's so funny you say that too, because Thad Ward, we mess with each other a lot. He started for us today, and this is what reminds me of it. He had his first big league outing in spring training last year's spring training, and he got a grounder and he threw it over. He said the sun was in his eyes, but I don't believe it. But yeah, definitely. What?
it always gives me like anxiety or whatever when the ball gets thrown, gets hit back to the pitcher, and they got to turn around and throw it to second base. It's like, oh, please don't airmail it out to the center fielder.
Yeah, I think that's one of the most interesting things is like sometimes it's better to just do it as quick as you can, let your instincts work, and like the coaches will be like, why are you rushing? Like, no, I'm not giving myself a chance to think about that. I am just going.
It kind of reminds me of that Matt Strom play from last week when he made that throw to first down that line drive. Like, he was clearly just doing what his brain told him immediately.
There's a guy on our team, Devin Rodall. He's one of the funniest dudes I've met, and he had a little bit of a rough outing, and he got a grounder, and he threw it at least 95 to first base. It was ridiculous, and it was harder than any pitch he threw that day. I firmly believe that, and it's just so funny. So that's the thing is like sometimes we're just like let it eat. You don't got to take your time or try and be careful. Just
nice. All right, and say Brendan from me, man. I can't say thank you enough, man, because you're hysterical, bro, and we are definitely huge fans. We're gonna be keeping an eye on you, highlight you, just nothing but love, and really appreciate everything from this end.
I appreciate that greatly.
I do want to say one thing. There is a pesky report shove, so like when you come on the show, a lot of the players end up doing really well. So like we've had Brian Van Bell on, he's been doing good. We have Cole Conham on, he's been doing good. We've had Nick Sogard on, he's been doing good. So
get ready.
Get ready.
So basically, like after I shove for the rest of the year, I'll have you guys to thank.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. It's
pretty
not
much
100% you. I'll be like, if anybody asks, like, how'd you end the season so well, Brendan? Oh, well, I went on the pesky report, so like,
it's a thing, man.
That's awesome.
I appreciate you. I definitely appreciate you coming on. These two guys were like very, very high on getting you on, and really wanted me to come on and meet you and whatnot. And I've heard nothing but good stuff about you. So, and I will be paying attention.
I really appreciate you guys having me. It was an absolute pleasure. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah. And we will see. Thank you on my behalf as well. Hopefully we'll have you again here sometime. And
I'd love that. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, cool.
We'll be back in an hour to record our recap episode. But thanks so much for coming. We'll see you guys next time.
Thanks, Brendan.
Thanks for watching. Make sure to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Pesky Report. Make sure to like, subscribe, and leave a review.
Thank you for listening to this Belly Up Sports Podcast Network product. Some said we go belly up, so we made it our name, and we're still here.